Hawaii, a chain of volcanic islands, 2,000 miles from the nearest continent, evolved in isolation for millions of years. This isolation allowed species like the nene goose, the Hawaiian petrel, and green sea turtles to adapt safely to their environment. But human activity disrupted this balance. The arrival of rats in the 1800s, followed by misguided attempts to control them, set in motion a devastating chain of events. The sugar boom and the rat infestation. By the mid-1800s, Hawaii's economy revolved around sugarcane. Plantation owners cleared forests and expanded fields across the islands, but this came at an ecological cost. Rats, stowed away on cargo ships from North America and Asia, invaded the islands. Female rats breed every 22 to 28 days, producing 4 to 8 pups per litter. Population estimates suggest that by the 1880s, millions of rats infested Hawaii's plantations. Their impact was severe. They devoured sugarcane stalks, reducing yields by 30 to 40% annually. By the late 1880s, sugar producers lost millions of dollars annually, and Hawaii's economy faced collapse. The rats also caused ecological damage. Hawaii's ground-nesting birds had no predators. Nene goose and petrel eggs became easy prey. One study from the 1890s estimated a 30% annual decline in nene hatchlings due to predation. Meanwhile, rats carried diseases like leptospirosis, which caused deadly kidney and liver infections in workers. Outbreaks in 1899 to 1900 in Honolulu led to quarantines and the demolition of entire neighborhoods to control a bubonic plague crisis. The mongoose solution. Hawaii's leaders turned to a method used in Jamaica, importing the small Indian mongoose. In 1883, 72 mongooses were sent to the Big Island. Why choose mongooses? Plantation managers believed the predators would hunt rats at night. However, mongooses are active during daylight hours, while rats remain hidden in burrows or nocturnal forests. This critical error ensured the solution was doomed. Mongooses spread uncontrolled. Within a decade, they colonized Oahu, Maui, and Molokai. A single female mongoose can have 3 litters of 2 to 4 pups annually. By 1920, their population exceeded 50,000. Immediate ecological impact. Mongooses began preying on Hawaii's native species. By 1920, ornithologists reported that 7 out of 10 ground-nesting bird nests along the Big Island's coasts had been raided. The Hawaiian rail's extinction. The Hawaiian rail, a flightless bird native to Oahu and Maui, was declared extinct by 1987, with mongooses identified as the primary cause. Studies in the 1970s and 80s confirmed that mongooses caused a 77% loss of nene eggs in protected areas like Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. The mongoose's unintended consequences. Mongooses' impact continued beyond the environment. By the 1940s, farmers reported losses of 20 to 30% of eggs and chicks annually. Hawaii's poultry industry lost over $3 million, today's equivalent, by the 1950s. Disease spread. Mongooses carried leptospirosis, infecting livestock. Infected cattle suffered miscarriages, reducing herd sizes for dairy and meat production. A 1990 study estimated mongooses contributed to a 10 to 15% annual loss in beef production. Impact on sea turtles. Nesting turtles faced new threats. In the 1970s, surveys in Kaena Point showed 40% of green turtle nests had been destroyed by mongooses. Cultural and biodiversity loss. The akohe kohe, a critically endangered honeycreeper, declined from an estimated 2,000 in the 1950s to fewer than 1,000 today. Mongooses and feral cats combined destroyed 60% of their nests since 1970. The feral pig problem. European settlers introduced domestic pigs to Hawaii in the 1700s. By the 19th century, escaped pigs formed feral colonies. Today, Hawaii has over 500,000 feral pigs, concentrated on the Big Island, Maui, and Oahu. Erosion and habitat destruction. Pigs root soil to a depth of up to 6 inches, destabilizing hillsides. On the Big Island, scientists noted a 300 to 500% increase in sediment runoff into streams between 1980 and 2020. This siltation choked coral reefs, reducing fish stocks by 25% in affected areas. Mosquito-borne diseases. Pigs' wallows became breeding sites for Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. These insects carry avian malaria, lethal to native birds. Bird populations like the iiwi declined by over 90% in low-lying forests between 1900 and 2000. By 2023, global warming allowed mosquitoes to survive up to 6,000 feet elevation, pushing surviving bird species into shrinking high-altitude refuges. Agricultural damage. Pigs consume endemic plants like the ohia tree, uprooting seedlings and spreading invasive species. A 2010 study showed feral pigs aided the spread of Myconia calvescens, a fast-growing plant that now covers over 10,000 acres on Maui. The rose-ringed parakeet invasion. Rose-ringed parakeets, native to India and Africa, escaped captivity in the 1960s. By 2021, Kauai's population had grown to 12,500 birds. Crop destruction. Parakeets target tropical fruits like lychee, papaya, and longan. On Kauai, farms reported 20 to 30% crop losses annually, exceeding $3.5 million in 2022. Ecological impact. Parakeets compete with native birds for nesting sites and food. On Oahu, studies found a 40% decline in native apapane populations since their arrival. They also spread invasive seeds, accelerating the loss of native plants like the hala tree. Urban nuisances. In cities, parakeets damage fruit trees and gardens. Noise from flocks at dawn and dusk has led to resident complaints. Mongoose control. Traps and targeted hunting reduce mongoose populations by 10 to 15% yearly. On islands like Kahulave, trapping campaigns, 2000 to 2010, removed nearly all mongooses, reducing nene mortality from egg predation by 50%. Predator-proof fences. A 6.3-mile fence surrounds Maui's Kipahulu Valley, blocking mongooses and feral pigs since 2006. Inside, the nene population has risen from 20 to 150 birds. Similar efforts protect Kaena Point on Oahu. Captive breeding programs. Since the 1990s, 2,000 nene have been bred in captivity. Today, 3,000 nene live wild, though continued protection is critical. Biological controls. Researchers test sterilization drugs and toxins targeting only invasive species, though none have yet been deployed at scale. Ongoing challenges and the human factor. Climate change worsens invasive species impact. Mosquitoes now reach higher elevations, driving birds into smaller refuges. New invasive threats. Species like the Asian tiger shrimp and giant African snail continue arriving. Over 30 new species have been recorded since 2010. Costs of inaction. Hawaii spends over $100 million yearly on invasive species control. Lost agricultural revenue, medical costs for leptospirosis, and ecosystem damage total over $2 billion since 1900. The lessons of Hawaii. This story is a cautionary tale of humanity's relationship with nature. Introducing species without understanding ecological impacts has catastrophic consequences. Eradication is rarely possible, but management can limit harm. As one biologist stated in 2023, we're not just fighting for birds or geese. We're preserving the idea of ecosystems as interconnected. That humility is crucial to survival. Hawaii's efforts remind us that ecosystems are fragile. Every new species, every human action has echoes across centuries. The island's survival demands vigilance and a respect for nature's balance. Today, Nene can be seen grazing in parks. Conservationists restore forests. But the battle continues. For Hawaii, the fight is not just to survive, but to remember the cost of forgetting.